You want to say anything to anybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Samsung, by the way, just recently, the Samsung company,
Yeah,
a I don't know, one of their scientists just developed a battery
yeah.
um,
A lot of silver.
using silver that uses like a kilogram of silver, just one battery.
Yeah, that's
And
two point
but
two pounds.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, a kilo. Yeah, 1 kilogram.
1 kilo, no, a kilo.
Yeah.
How much is a kilo?
Well, a kilogram is 1,000 grams, which is 2.2 pounds.
No, a kilo. I think he said a kilo.
Well, a
Yeah.
kilo. Yeah, I mean, kilo means thousand. Yeah, a battery for what? Cars?
Yeah, they can go 800 kilometers
Okay.
without recharging.
Well, I mean, 2.2 pounds in a car battery is not a lot of weight. I mean, those
No,
batteries are hundreds of pounds.
no, no. Yeah, but think about it. 2.2 pounds, 16 times 2.5 or 2.2, sorry, is 35 ounces right now at the current price. I mean, you're talking $3,800 worth of silver just in the battery.
Yeah, well, troy ounces. I forget the conversion for troy ounces from ounces. It's a troy ounce is more than 1 ounce.
Right. So,
But
3,800, 4 grand, whatever, of silver in one freaking battery. So, I mean, look, I forget all the technical specifications, but bottom line is that's another example of how it's going to propel the demand way past the supply. And unlike gold, as you know, so much silver is, non-recoverable, thrown into dumps, from past
yeah, I
technologies
know,
and
but
computers.
I hear you. Yeah, what a lot of people are talking about is copper now, because copper, the largest silver mines are copper mines. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that silver's a byproduct of other
Well,
stuff like nickel,
zinc,
copper,
zinc and
iron.
copper mines. Yeah,
Yep, yep, yep. It's a byproduct. You don't just mine for silver and start digging up. Oh, we got silver, Bob. No,
yeah. I think
it's
I think
yeah.
I forget the name of the company, but I think the largest silver mine in the world is in Poland, and
I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, and it's like it's a byproduct. It's not even their primary product. It's like their throwaway, and they're the largest miner of silver. And they would just treat silver as like, because for years it was like 5, $10 an ounce. They just treated it as a waste byproduct. But now,
What a
imagine that
sin.
company's bottom line.
What a sin. Because, but we knew years ago through the chemical charts, the element charts and stuff, we always knew silver was the best conductor we have on the planet. So to have treated it even that in that manner back then, what an injustice and what a waste. I mean, silver is clearly, until we figure out something else, if we ever do, it's the best conductor on the planet. I mean, in silver, along with other certain metals, as you know, is the complete basis of our entire modern economy. We'd have no telecommunications, no microwaves, no fiber networks, no computer boards, motherboards, on and on and on.
And
It's the basis of our economy. And so you and I have been way ahead of the curve again, as usual, in my opinion. We were saying 5 years ago that guys like Elon Musk or whoever should be buying resource companies, mineral companies,
no
because those are
brainer for
his
them.
basic inputs. Game over. And you and I have said a billion times, if I were Keith, what's his face over at First Majestic, I don't want to second guess the guy, but I would have been approaching companies like Tesla. It's like, look, man, I know you need this. You know you need it. Let's stop,
Well, you
pretending
know,
like
well, you know,
this
I
isn't the
wrote.
case.
Well, I wrote to them directly. I copied you on the email
I know you did. I know you did. You took it up
multiple
and you put
times.
it into action, and nobody listened to you. But you know what? Sooner or later, that idea is going to get in, whether it's from you or somebody else. It's out of pure practicality.
Now, I'll tell you who will do it. The Chinese and the Russians will buy it up.
There you go. Yeah.
They already are
because they're
doing it.
smart. Yeah. The Russians, who we ostracize, as well as the Chinese and the Indians and stuff, these cultures have been around 2, 3, 5,000 years. Okay. They've seen it all. Okay. And they realize the importance of the precious metals like gold, like silver, on and on and on. They get it. Okay. But the West, being a bunch of knuckleheads, what do you need the metals for?
Well, that's why
Yeah, that's
I think that's
archaic.
no, I think that's why so many people are now talking about the risk that the US government and other Western governments, even Mexico or Canada, might nationalize their mines.
Yep. And the other thing to note is, and you may know this,
And
I think it was only a month ago or so that silver was added to the American strategic metals list, finally.
yeah, a
I
couple
mean,
months ago, right?
hello. Really, guys? It took you that long to put silver on the strategic metals list? Like, again, there's
Well,
we
look at
can't
how
even build
look at
weapon
the way they
systems
treat
with them.
uranium. Look at the way they treat uranium. They've
Exactly.
been it's the proverbial what we talk about how we joked like, "Hey, China, we can you build us some cruise missiles?"
Yeah. Yeah. It never made sense to me. Like, we punched the Russians in the face, we kicked the Chinese in the nuts, but yet, we brought them into the World Trade Organization with Billy Boy in the early 90s. We make them the boogeyman enemy, but yet we give them all the intellectual capacity and intellectual whatever rights and stuff, and know-how and design know-how to manufacturing, including high tech. And now look what they're doing, because
But because
they've
it
always been
works,
an industrious and intelligent, hardworking nation.
because it works. They had the Cold
Yeah.
War with the Chinese and the Russians, and then they tried pivoting to the Muslims, right? And that really didn't work as well. It didn't scare people enough. And
No.
so they pivoted back to Russia. And look at Europe and look at the whole world. They're like, wow, that's a great story. Let's stick with Russia as the boogeyman.
Look, does that make sense from a common sense standpoint? Talk about sliding the dagger across your own throat. So you make like China, which is the manufacturing base of the world, because of us, by the way, in Europe, our nemesis and enemy. And like you said, oh, I need an order of 30 Abrams tanks, and I need the steel capacity and titanium or whatever the hell else the stuff's made of. Oh, sorry, I can't call China because we're in the middle of a war with them. I wonder why they don't want to supply us, Bob. I mean, really? This didn't whatchamacall, you know, it didn't hit
Yeah,
anybody's brain and leadership.
China. Yeah, last year China
Didn't
started
occur to them.
restricting. Yeah, they started restricting the rare earth metals, and then they just made an announcement that all Chinese companies now can no longer use the Cloudflare, the security software packages that are made
Right.
in the West
Right.
because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
think they're spyware.
Well, yeah.
So
We keep.
China and Russia are very patiently just cutting these things off because they know they're in World War III already. They know it.
And you
Russia
and I,
definitely knows it.
100%. And you and I were ahead of the curve as usual, 7 to 10 years ago, saying, and I said it 100 times, and in your analysis agreed. When you look at Russia as a society, I've said it a million times. They're basically, for the most part, they have a mix of people, whatever, but their similarities in stuff and natural associations are more with the West than it is the East. They tend to be white Caucasian, Christian based, Orthodox based, family oriented, up until maybe 30 years ago, before the West went absolutely apeshit from drinking bad water. I don't know what. The Russians could identify with us more. Okay. And they wanted to come West, but we kept kicking them in the nuts. So now it's at a point of no return. They've gone East because they know, in their defense, not that I'm defending them, they have no future with the West. They know that. They've
Well,
tried a
especially
million times
yeah,
to
the
make
West
peace
does
with us,
nothing but
and we
lie to
punch
them,
them in the face.
and they lie to them. They say, "Yeah, we'll make an
Yeah,
agreement," and they're like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, constantly. The West doesn't keep their word at all. They lie to them, spit in their face, and kick them in the nuts. And how many times can you do that to somebody before they're like, look, I've tried. Enough's enough. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm taking my ball and leaving. Okay, I'm going to
Well,
go play with
you
these guys.
well you have a connection to Brazil, and 2025 was a clear pivot of Brazil to China and Russia. Clear pivot. The U.S.
So,
basically pushed them away so hard, and
so here's what I would say to that. I wouldn't say um, uh, it's a completely done in 100% consummated deal in that regard. However, it
it
is
is to me.
definitely, I agree with you, going in that direction. And the way our government rolls, they probably won't correct it because they're just arrogant and stupid. And so that'll be an ally
I don't
and
think
stuff
Brazil will be neutral in World War III like they
in
were in the
trade
other.
and trade partner that they're going to drive away and um, and that are in the process of doing. Brazil has been our friend. We've gotten along with them for a long time. They're rich in resources. They're great people. You know, great culture, whatever, and they like us. But now we're pushing them away. And before we know it, which is pissing me off, um, you know, we're going to end up making them the enemy. Okay, great. Let's make them the enemy. Let's drive them into the Chinese and Russians' hands so that we can have then, weapon systems.
And Brazil borders Venezuela, right?
Exactly. So if the Russians have and or the Chinese and northern Brazil have all of a sudden bases and missile systems like sitting in our backyard in the West now, which we never wanted, but because we're idiots, that's a potentiality. The other thing is, look what we've done to Canada, whether you like Carney or not. We've driven them into the Chinese hands.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're right. Yeah, that's going to surprise a lot of people when they find
they
out
have been yeah,
how much China controls Canada.
100%, bro. And the Canadians don't deserve it. Okay, they've been a great staunch ally for us for 100 years. They stormed Normandy beaches with us. They're good troops. They fought hard. They have loved us and they've loved America. During 9/11, they housed a lot of Americans that got stuck in Canada and stuff. Just regular citizens. Other Canadian citizens brought the U.S. citizens in and said, "Stay in my house." You think they would do that now? The way we treat them? So, and here we are, we want to be the big guy on the block and we need to control the Western Hemisphere. Oh, really? Well, the way we're going about it at this rate, you're going to have weapon systems in South America, Cuba, and or maybe Canada on your border. So much for control. That's what happens when you don't treat people the right way. So apparently I'm an idiot and have no common sense. Apparently the NSA and everybody else knows a hell of a lot better.
Well, Gerald Celente keeps pointing out in his videos that the mainstream media does not talk like he shows on their newspapers and on their websites. They never talk about silver or gold. Never
Nope,
talk about
never.
silver or gold.
They
And
can't even
so
spell a word.
and so it's a clear indication that people are using it as a safety net of some sort. And and
Well,
and
mhm.
it a lot of people would say, wow, be careful what you wish for $5,000 gold because you don't know what kind of world that's going to bring. Well, we're here folks. We're
Well,
over 5,000.
it's called instability. And if it goes to 6,000, 8,000, and 10,000, like I think eventually it's going to, you think things are shaky and unstable now. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, and you know what's going to do it very quickly besides geopolitical?
What's that?
The last 3 months the price of oil has been beaten like a drum. And now oil is breaking out. If you look at it on the chart, let's go to the oil chart.
Yeah.
Oil is breaking out. Here, let me call up.
To your point, it's starting to move. Yeah.
Well, I was looking at a lot of charts this week, Dan, and
Yeah.
I have not really. Last week, I really wasn't doing a lot of chart work, and in the last week, the charts, like the Brazil chart, the Mexican chart, like look at this Brazil chart here. I'll look at Brazil here real quick. You tell me when you can see it. Can you see
I
that?
see it. Yeah.
Okay. Look at what it's done in the
Brazilian.
last week. It went from 33 up to 37. That's a big move for this ETF. You can just see over time, if I go to the weekly chart,
Stair step.
look at that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, and
Big ass candle.
let's go to Mexico here. Wait till you see this one.
Yeah. We're driving all this with our actions. Yeah.
So
Ultimately.
look at that.
Yeah.
So just it coincides with silver and gold. Basically, these emerging basically what does this mean? It means that the dollar and plus the dollar, the Mexican peso is now down to almost 17 now for $1. It was at like 20 just a month or two ago.
Mm.
Okay, so if we go to USO, which is the WTI ETF.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I zoom in. See, it's starting to go. So if oil, if energy, natural gas had that pop, right? If oil pops, that directly contributes to the inflation numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that piece of that's the reason why the inflation numbers have been like you're hearing Trump and the others say, oh, oils are this like inflation's dropping, like Hedge Eye that they're like their inflation indicator is showing a trajectory like this because energy has been dropping. Well, what happens when energy reverses? What's coming down? Food's not coming down, right? They say it is, but I don't know. You go to the supermarket, Dan. Are your supermarket bills getting lighter?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are your insurance bills? Are your for your
Definitely
car or
not.
your house?
Homeowners, health insurance, auto insurance. They jack it up every year, 10% at least.
Yeah, those are all part of inflation. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as what, and we've it's what, and basically when inflation takes off, the price of gold will take
Yeah.
off as well because gold reacts to inflation. Well, it reacts to deflation, they say as well, but gold is tends to protect your wealth as fiat currencies are debased.
Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword. Exactly. Gold keeps ripping like it's ripping, silver's ripping like it's ripping. You're like, yeah, all right. But in effect, what that's saying, guys, is that the purchasing power of the dollar continues to get weakened and weakened and weakened and watered down. And oh, by the way, I'm hearing they're going to start printing money again, like it's going out of style real soon.
Yep.
What's that going to do to the purchasing power?
Yep.
Are we going to become the Weimar Republic at this point? I got
what
to
I
roll
wanted,
into the supermarket with a wheelbarrow of money to buy a friggin' loaf of bread?
look at what this copper mine has done. One of the look at that FCX Freeport McMoran.
Yep.
It started going down, got down to 39. I actually was selling puts on it, and then it started taking off. It went from 39 to 60, so it's up basically 50% in basically 2 months.
What do you think of SVM? I'm trying to sell a put on that,
No,
and
that's that's a Chinese miner, man.
okay.
What's it at now? Holy cow. Wow. I sold mine last year. I basically wanted to get rid of all my small miners. I sold SVM, I think, for like $5 last year.
Yeah. Well, I'm still hearing the mining stocks, including the juniors, are still way undervalued, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening right now is people are now, they've been talking about it for a long time. I sent you the numbers. I sent you those numbers. What did here? This is what I sent you. GDX in just in January, GDX is up 29%. GDXJ is up 32%. SILJ is up 46%. SIL is up 40%. Individual miners, First Majestic is up 60% in January alone.
Yeah, you sent that thing to me this morning
Yeah.
or something, or yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
CDE is Quarter Lane is up 44%. Paz Pan America Silver is up 25%.
Yeah.
FSM Fortuna is up 27%.
They're all kicking it.
Yep. EXK is up 50%. Hecla is up 95% since January 1st or the end of the year.
Tesla's at like what, $27 a share or something? It is.
No, it's up like at 31 or 32 now.
There you go. Last year it was at like 7 or something.
Oh yeah, I picked it up for yeah, well it's, dude, like you said about the timing. Here, hold on a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if you had 100 grand to dump into a lot of these stocks last year, where you'd be right now.
Well,
You'd have a
there
double.
were people who
Please.
sold their metals last year and rotated into GDX and GDXJ because they figured at some point the miners would have to start reporting. Look at that move, dude.
Yeah.
That's
I
Hecla.
know. Yeah.
Can you see that?
I definitely do. So
So
it looks like a good candidate for a put, huh?
no, the rule of thumb I always use, dude, is when prices are spiking, you sell a call. Okay, a covered call. And then if you have shares, it's when prices are dropping, you want to buy a put or you want to sell a put because that's when the IV spikes. That's when you get the premium. You're not gonna get premium on Hecla right now.
Yeah.
Here, I'll call up right now. Let me look. Hecla right now is at. I guess we have 24-hour trading now because the ticker's. I called up Schwab. The ticker's moving. It's at 3186.
Really? So you could be trading it right now, shares. I'm looking at First Majestic right now at 8:27 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And it's moving. It's moving. Dude, it's up $1.71.
Fine. I'll call up First Majestic then. Can you see the First Majestic chart on the screen?
Not yet. Yes, I can.
Okay. Let me go
it's
to
at 27:15 as we speak.
Yeah, I really do not like these black backgrounds, but we'll do the best we can. Okay.
It closed Friday at 25.44. It's up to 27.15 overnight.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it basically it's been riding the Bollinger Band in January. And it had a slight pullback. It has a pullback to the 10-day. So let's just, for shits and giggles, right now the 10-day average as of Friday was 2150. And that's going to go up. So how far out do you want to look at selling a put just for option premiums purposes? Well, let's go out to the next monthly expiration, which is February 20th. 30
to 60 days, I would say.
Yeah, that's That's too long. That's too long.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a little bit about 30 days would be ideal, wouldn't it?
It really depends on the premiums. This is where. So if we look at a 2150 put on First Majestic for February 20th, as of Friday, it was paying dollar 17 is the midpoint.
Okay.
So if you put it in before the market opens, there's a chance it might be accepted because you never know who has orders in the system. But if the market opens at 27, you literally have a couple seconds and then the options will reset.
Yeah, so I was looking to sell some premium lately to kind of augment my other stuff.
Yeah, I was talking here and I didn't realize you had gone. The midpoint for a 2150 put is $1.17 going out to February 20th. See, here's the thing is I'll bring it up again, is February 1st, 2021. You remember everything was going through the roof. You remember?
I certainly do. I remember it like yesterday. I remember a lot of my, including First Majestic, was through the roof. I was well into the green, if you know what I mean.
Well, my point is neither one of us thought that
And
First Majestic was going to drop $10 the next day. I didn't.
No. I mean, it was sort of straight up parabolic. Did I think there'd be some sort of an adjustment? Yes, I did, and I accounted for that in some of the premium I was selling. Upwards of 20% I accounted for, 25% in some cases. You know what I mean? When it was at 1850
Very
or something.
difficult to adjust for a $10 move when it went from, because it doesn't reflect it in the chart, but I know First Majestic hit $30 on that day. You remember?
Yeah.
The chart does not say that. Chart says it only got to like 20 something.
I thought it was like 29 and change. Yeah. And it did that like 29.47 or something. But here's the thing. It did that very momentarily, like only for minutes. And then,
see,
the powers that be.
Yeah, the Yahoo chart says it got to 24.01. They're full of malarkey.
No, it was $5 more than that, easy. $4 to $5. It was 28 plus to 29 plus, somewhere in that range, because we were looking at it in real time. I remember you and I were looking at it in real time, trying to make a decision what to do.
Because I was trying to sell covered calls, and back then, I was a much newer trader back then, and I blinked.
And but even as more, it was just moving so fast, though, man.
I want you to taste this fruit, and if you like it, I'll buy more for you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
I'm on the telephone.
Excuse me.
Okay.
But they're really tasty.
This looks like a passion fruit.
It's grapes and
Yogurt.
And no, it's cream.
Okay.
It's a very good cream.
Thank you very much.
And it's grapes and apricots.
Ah.
And if you like it, we can go and buy some other for you.
Thank you very much, Maggie.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Have a good night. Dan, you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Dude,
yep, that's
every gold and silver stock I'm pulling up on the fly in the background is
well, what do you
through the roof.
Well, of course, these are foreigners, man. Would you hold your dollars or would you be buying silver and gold? I mean, that's what they're doing.
Well, and that's where I was going, amigo. The dollar is going to continue to get weaker as everybody continues to de-dollarize. And I hate to say it, this isn't a political statement. The Trumpster is aiding and abetting all this. He's not trying to do it. but he's doing it through his actions and his words. And he's
How do you
freaking
know he's
people
not?
out.
How do you know he's not trying to do it? We don't know what his
Okay, all
agenda
right.
is.
I'll recant that statement. I don't know that, but uh, who knows? Maybe it's part of a implicit secret whatever plan. I don't know. I do know though when he's making comments like I want Greenland, and now the friggin' Danish are freaked out, and they're now populating Greenland, guys, as we speak, with Danish special forces ready to rock. Okay, it's like really, really, we're gonna get it on with the Danish folks now. We're gonna fight with them. Really, they're next. That people around the world are looking at this shit because I would put
Well,
myself in their
and
shoes,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
and
It
I'd be
could
like,
happen.
"What are you guys doing? What is the game plan? You just took Maduro out. You're doing this in Greenland. You're letting Gaza happen. You're
And the
punching the
hope,
Russians in the face for Ukraine. You're kicking the Chinese in the balls. I mean, where on the planet aren't you going to fight?"
well, not only that, Dan, is with the media we have, you're not even going to be told really what's going on. There could be battles going on with against Danish forces right now, and you'd never know it.
100%, bro. The point is, that's why I don't watch the media anymore, 12 or 15 years, because I have enough of a brain, at least of a 61 IQ plus that I know of, to put together everything I just spurted out. I mean, if you have a reasonable sense of observation based on even what I listed, not to mention other stuff to Dave's point, how can you not see it?
Well, we what I saw last week was, I guess you could call it FOMO or mania, and so I was expecting this week, because this week we have the Fed and we have a whole bunch of tech earnings and Apple and Meta and the oil companies are reporting. So this week is going to be a huge week for the stock market and the financial markets. And I figured this week would start off with a roar, and it certainly has. It certainly has. Because let's see what silver is at right now. Because I use silver, gold. It's up to 108 now. It was
I
at
know.
10. It was at 103 when we started talking.
Are you sure about that? I thought you said 107.10.
No. When we were going through those technical issues, it was at 103.
Oh my God. It's gone up $5 in like an hour.
Well, it opened at
Oh
6
my
o'clock
God.
Eastern time, so it's over 2 hours. But silver moving $5 in a day used to be unheard of.
Big time.
And
Like last year.
Bitcoin's at 87.5. I think I don't want to say anything definitive because the future is the future, but I think these last few months have pretty much shown that Bitcoin is not something that because you remember like a year or two ago, everybody like Bitcoin at the last April, Bitcoin started rocketing, and everybody's like, well, I guess Bitcoin really is as good as gold. And now we're finding out that, maybe it isn't.
So here's what I'll say about Bitcoin. Supposedly it's a store of value. There's only 21 million ever created, minted, whatever. There's only like what, 18 million in circulation. 2 or 3 million have been lost. Of the 18 million, X amount of those are just in storage. So then there's only a percentage of that that's around, whatever. But it's called the electronic gold in a way, store of value. Okay, there's true. It's easy to carry
I
a
don't
cold
think it's
storage device
electronic
that's
gold at
this
all.
big in your pocket versus a couple of bars of gold. But here's the problem, right? Common sense. And countries know this. Do we want to have a bunch of physical gold and silver in our vaults in our possession or put all this money into Bitcoin when someone can just pull the power plug?
Well, you've got cold storage, but this is the chart of Monero. And Monero, you can see what Monero did at the beginning of January. Monero spiked from 450 up to over 800, and now it's come back down to 450. Isn't that incredible?
Very incredible. The only thing I'll say about
That must have
Monero
been
is
when the Venezuela thing happened.
100%. And not to mention, I'm thinking the wealthy, it's a security coin, guys, in a general sense, right? It's been a long time since I've read about it, but suffice to say, you know, if wealthy cats got a lot of money and they want to put it somewhere that isn't going to be on an open blockchain, Monero's a decent candidate, right?
And this is Bitcoin.
I guess
kind of flat.
Yeah. Well, there's rotation
fact,
going on too, like you said. And I think lately there's been rotation out of crypto to an extent, maybe heading into the commodities and stuff. Part of it, partly. But bottom line, the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, the BRICS in general, they value precious metals and they continue to buy them like they're going out of style. The India just bought another 55, what was it, million ounces?
Yeah,
this is
a uranium. This is a Canadian uranium miner, and you can see it's following the Bollinger Band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the upper level. Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
So you wanted to look at SVM?
Yeah, and Goro after that.
Yeah, these are like definite pigs. Maybe it's the time for the pigs. Because First Majestic's moving. Wow, look at that move.
Big time. But let's say
14
you're a young
bucks.
person, you don't, right on. And you don't have a lot of money. And you don't have $5,000 for gold. You don't have even $105 or whatever it is.
Well, we're not,
or whatever.
We're not, but that's not you, Dan. So let's not think about that. And
the
most
average
people,
bear I'm talking about.
I don't think the average bear is in the stock market. Are they trading this stuff?
No, they're not. But if you are a Gen whatever on Robinhood and you got $1,000 to invest or 500 or $3,000.
Well, Goro has more than doubled in January. It ended the year at 82 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to 182.
After hours, it's up over 13% to $1.82. That's some good value. If you want to buy 100 shares.
Well, this is the thing, Dan, is I can tell you, I mean, you must have the crystal ball because I'm not going to recommend that people chase this shit.
I'm not recommending that at all. I'm just throwing food for thought.
I'm not going to, I saw it was moving. Like I've been selling covered calls on First Majestic all the way up. And when it was at like First Majestic 2 weeks ago, First Majestic was at like $16 2 weeks ago.
I know. Amazing.
And it was struggling.
Amazing.
It was struggling. Let me just verify that. The 8th of January, it was at $17.02.
Imagine that.
So that's 2 weeks, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Two and a half weeks.
And so what I did was I sold covered calls. I staggered them. I sold 22, 23, 24, 25. And some of them expired, but some of them were going to get tagged. So I rolled them. And I rolled them up to 27 because I was like, 27 should be safe. Well, it's at 27 tonight. First Majestic is up $1.50.
I know. Go figure.
In 2 weeks, First Majestic has gone from 17 to 27. What's that? What's that on a return? If you bought at 17,
Let's see, 10 divided by 17, rough math. It's up 59% basically
in
in
2
2
weeks.
weeks. Now,
I mean,
what I like,
these
yeah.
are the rip your face off type rallies that
Oh yeah.
that everybody said was coming, but never came. Right? Miners have been lagging for a year.
Oh, at least.
And a lot of them start reporting in a couple weeks.
Yep. They're making a lot of money. Going back to
So let me, I
Goro
just want
real.
to finish my thought, Dan.
Oh,
So
go ahead. Sorry.
could
Go ahead.
could this run up be in anticipation of their earnings reports that are reporting in 2 weeks? Because how many times do you see a stock when it's running like this? We just had a couple of them recently where the earnings come out, the earnings blew out, and then the stock drops because it was already built into the price.
I was looking at Goro while you were talking.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that Goro could run farther, like on your analogy that, the guy with no money is going to buy the $1.50 stock, not the $27
Well,
stock.
what I wanted to say about it, in 2011, Goro was at over $30.
Yeah, I know, but we'll see. I mean, I don't have the chart in front of me, but where I can look up these earnings.
Very
But
similar looking chart to First Majestic around that time. And if you look at it on its all-time or even 5-year chart, it is at its all-time lows right now, pretty much. So it's got a long way to go. I think it's going to $5 to $10 easy. And if it were to do a cup and handle potentially, it could go back to $28 to $30 potentially before coming back down to form the handle again. Potentially, it could. It's not a recommendation, guys. It's just what I'm seeing on the chart. Now, when would that happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I think as more people get drawn into the metals and the miners and stuff, they'll come across potential value like this. Yeah.
well, I can tell you what the pros have been buying for the last year, or has been primarily Newmont Mining, okay, which
Yep.
is the largest miner in the world supposedly, and the one is they've been buying Wheaton Precious Metal, which is a royalty company.
Right.
And what surprised me is that the royalty companies have not taken off yet. But Wheaton Precious Metals has. Can you see the chart I called up?
Yes.
Yeah. This is Wheaton
WPM,
Precious Metals. Look at that. Look at what it's done. It was at a year ago, it was at 55. And tonight it's at 155. So it's up 3x in 1 year.
Absolutely incredible.
And Newmont, so I mean, this is why people might start selling their Meta, their Nvidia, because you're not going to get a 3x. You're not going to get a 3x out of Nvidia this year.
Or a 5 or 10 bagger. Some of these miners, in my opinion, a good amount of them over the next whatever year or so potentially could be a 5 or 10 bagger or more.
So Newmont in 1 year has gone from 37 up to 131. Another 3, almost 4 bagger.
That's a quadruple bagger. Yeah. Pretty much.
And here's the thing I will say is I've been waiting for a pullback. Like a couple months ago, like CDE is the one, was one of the first ones that really started taking off. All right, so this was CDE. Look at what happened last year. This one started running early, basically in July, or I'm sorry, in April. It was at $6, and then Then it got to in July, end of July, it was up to $8.59. So it really wasn't it was moving a little bit. Then in the next few weeks, it went from $9 up to $24 bucks.
Absolutely incredible.
In like the next couple months. Okay, and then if you remember, we had a little bit of a pullback in October, and that dropped down to $13. So it went from 24 down to $13, 13 and change. So it lost $10. And I started buying more of it there. I started buying at 15 and kept buying as it dropped. And then you can see what it's kind of gone back up. It's now tonight it's at almost $28. Another all-time high, I think. So I was waiting. So do you see that pullback? But then a relaunch?
Yeah. Yeah, it formed a cup here, and the right side of it's above the bolo. I think it's going to come down again a little bit. Yeah. To form the handle and then take off again.
Well,
that's what
as we talked about. First Majestic has moved $10 in the day before, and it sure is looking that it sure is. But here's the thing I was going to say, Dan. What are the chances? I mean, we've seen it. I think it was a Monday where Sunday into Monday, First Majestic went up $10 up to that $30, and then dropped.
Well, it was whack-a-mole. Yeah, it was whack-a-mole with the miners, like it always has been with silver and the miners and stuff. But the whack-a-mole days, I think, are basically over. When you factor in, what's happening with our standing in the world, the de-dollarization effect, the BRICS forming and gaining in strength, they emphasizing the importance of precious metals. Wall Street in the West can't keep it tamped down. They can't hold the beach ball under the water anymore. It's just too big. I think that paradigm shift has happened.
Yeah, see, what a good memory. Look at that. February 1st, 2001.
Yep.
And it was a Monday, just like I remember. I'll never forget that day. I remember I was down at the beach. I was down at the beach house, and I was on the phone with you, and we were watching this thing. And on that day, it opened at 23.85, Dan. And this thing says it only got up to 24. This is wrong. That thing got up to $30. It got up to $30. And then,
I don't know if it hit. Yeah, I don't know if it hit 30, but it was in the 28, 29 range, easy. Because I remember looking at it with you.
Yeah, because I was
29.
Because I remember asking you. I said, Dan, I'll never forget. I called up here. Let me call up this. Here, I'll show you. It called up.
But as quick as it went up, dude, you remember it came down.
I thought it came down. I thought it came down overnight.
No, it started coming down in front of our eyes, but by cents at a time. And then over the next 2 days, it literally took a nosedive because, the whack-a-mole
Can you see this?
Squad kicked in, and we know who that is.
Can you see this?
Yeah. I see it.
This is the Schwab options chain for First Majestic.
Okay.
So going out to February 50, you see at 21.50, it's paying 117. Mm-hmm. So when the market opens, it's probably going to offer Yeah, see, I'm starting to lose my connections. So it's probably going to be below $1. So, but right here, I remember I had this called up. I was on the screen and I was talking to you, and it was offering me, Dan, it was offering
Mhm.
me like $10 or $8 of premium.
Wow.
And at that time, I said to you, I remember saying to you, Dan, I can sell $26 covered calls and I can collect $25,000 right now. And and I was like, what would you do? And you're like, you didn't give me any answer. And I was the same way. I was like, because we were watching it just like we're watching tonight. Who in their right mind is selling a covered call when they see the markets doing this?
Well, it was just moving so fast,
No, no,
literally, that it
no.
was
I'm asking a
tough to make a
question.
call.
Who would be selling? Looking at the charts we're looking at, who's selling covered calls on their positions right now?
Yeah.
My guess is right now everybody thinks First Majestics is going to 30, 50, $100. They'll be talking tomorrow. And
Especially their first time around looking at it like us back then. Yeah.
and isn't that I mean, I don't know. So you say things won't get slammed down. I definitely think that things could get slammed down.
Well, I'm not saying they won't, but I do think for the most part, the tamp down days are over for the most part.
Well, like we used to have. Well, it used to be like every options expiration they'd play the game
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah. You could literally see the invisible hammer getting raised like this,
yeah, in the
and
mornings.
Jamie and the boys coming in. Boing, boing.
Well, you know Jamie's long now.
Oh, oh, oh. Jamie's crying.
Well, J.P. Morgan has had warehouses of
Actually,
like
he's not.
no. J.P. Morgan has like 1 billion ounces of physical silver.
But they told you 2 or 3 years ago. They scream bloody blue murder. Don't buy any of that, and don't trade in crypto either. Oh, by
Right,
the way, they developed their own blockchain.
right. No, I'm just no, but that's why they could afford to have shorts because if if they got called, they had 1 billion physical ounces that they could draw from.
Can you say play both sides of the fence, boys and girls?
But that's how you make a lot of money, right?
What did Henry Ford say 110 years ago? If the American people truly understood how the banking system worked, they'd be out in the streets with pitchforks tomorrow.
Yeah, there'd be a
Or something
revolution.
to that effect.
Well, the people maybe back then, not today.
So, interestingly enough, the World Economic Forum, or is it the WTO, trade organization? One of those came into existence, funny enough. Guess the year, Dave. When did we go off gold?
1973, wasn't it? 72,
71.
71.
Nope, you were right. You were right there. It's 1971 with Dickie Nixon, August 15th. And interestingly enough, that organization came online. Coincidence?
Well, there are plenty of people like our buddy Mike, right? Who lives down near you now, who's an MMT guy. And he thinks that you can print without any consequences indefinitely. In fact, he doesn't consider the national debt a problem. He considers it actually, what does he call it? He calls it
He doesn't call it debt.
no, he calls it like these are assets, or I
Yeah.
forget what he calls it. And I understand what he's saying, but you're basically implying you're never going to have to pay that back. And
Well, his
what's going to
overall, yeah,
yeah,
his underlying thesis is with modern MMT guys, modern monetary theory. is that you can print as much money as you want without the consequences, I guess, of
Well, it's when you're the
more
no, when you
dollars chasing fewer goods and services, and hence crazy inflation. But his premise is we're the issuer of the currency
well, that's
and we're the world
if you
reserve.
are the issuer of the currency. So Japan, if they're issuing yen, they can do it as well, and they have. Where countries get into problems is when you start borrowing in somebody else's currency, because then when the exchange rate gets whacked, you can't print, like we can't print yen. The Japs can't print dollars.
Well, and hence the carry trade that blew up last year, right? Japan was the modern economy that had 0% interest rates for how long?
Yeah, people borrow in yen and they basically buy in dollars.
Yep. So basically, you're getting money for free at 0% and taking that same money and investing it somewhere around the West, Europe, whatever, Latin America at X
Bitcoin,
percent.
US treasuries. Think about it. When the treasury you're getting 5%, you're borrowing for zero, getting 5%. Who wouldn't take that deal?
Hand over fist. Pure
How much?
profit.
Unlimited.
Pure profit. No cost basis and pure profit. Can you say no brainer, boys and girls? But since the Japanese started raising their interest rates, that's when the carry
Yeah,
trade
I
blew
think
up.
I think it's up. I think they're 10 years pushing 10%, 2% now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ours is 4.
We're at about 130% debt to GDP. The Japanese are at like what,
2/3.
250, 300?
Yeah, they're over 200.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
hasn't caught up.
guys, if you ran a household like that, I mean, how long would that last?
Well, but that's it. Is you as a household can't print money. You don't have a money tree.
Well, that's where I was going. The only thing that saves the U.S. government is the fact that they can go into the basement and turn on the printing press.
Well,
Oh,
that's
I
what
need more
saved,
money to pay
that's what
something.
well, that's what has saved every country. And the
Crystal ball.
Europeans, the Europeans can print dollars. There's a there's a swap line open for the Europeans.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so they don't even have to worry about that now. They want dollars, they just go in and they create them.
Oh my God, that sounds titillating.
Yeah. Yep. Well, if you look at
That
the
doesn't
European,
sound.
if you look at the European currencies, they've been kicking the dollar's ass.
That just. I love it when you talk dirty. I mean, that just doesn't sound right to me. Um, doesn't the U.S. Constitution say that not even the Federal Reserve, only Congress can print or
Gold and
create money?
silver. Gold and silver,
So,
they call it.
so
Or
we got the
gold.
Federal Reserve, which is not federal, not part of the U.S. at all, and then we got the Europeans, the Euro trash kings, in between their what do you call the European nightclubs with their music there? The Euro trash, whatever. Printing money it will. After
It's
they've
bad.
been out on an all-night bender, drinking shaken not stirred, and who knows, smoking hashish.
Well,
Let's
I
print more
think
money.
I think that I can tell you I haven't lived in the US in over 3 years. I've come back a couple times, and I can tell you when I come back, I try to drive a lot and go explore. And there's still some beautiful areas in the US, obviously, but
Obviously. Yeah.
man, oh man. I passed on that trip when I visited you in July, and then I drove up to my siblings up in
Mhm.
Cape Cod. I drove up the East Coast on inland
Mhm.
on secondary roads. So I was going through all these small towns, Dan. They were all destroyed. Destroyed.
Devastated.
It looked like a zombie movie.
Zombie apocalypse.
And
I
I'm
hear
like,
that all the time from other channels I listen in on. Yeah.
makes me so angry because I can tell you right now, if I thought that I could make a difference in politics, I would try. But I already know for a fact that somebody like you or me going into politics, it would be an exercise in the greatest futility. And
You know,
and
it, It's true. I mean,
especially with our populace.
as good looking as we are, and as debonair as we are, I mean, you need $1 billion. The last I heard just the other day, you need about $1 billion to run for the presidency. Now,
No, I'm not
where in
even
God's
talking
name?
presidency. I'm talking anything. I mean, the problem is look, you've
What's
got
a U.S.
Thomas
senator? I'm
Massey,
just guessing.
you've got
250 million? I don't
well,
know.
you've got Thomas Massey, and you've got uh, 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 um, Rand, uh,
Yeah,
Rand
Rand Paul.
Paul, and
Mhm.
those two guys, both Kentuckians, surprisingly, they come from the same state. Those are the only two guys who consistently try to put the brakes on what's going on, and they get run over. And Trump hates them both.
Mhm.
And so yeah, even most people in the United States probably think they're kooks when they just want to go back to, hey, let's take care of the United States first, because it's clear now that Trump has only used that rhetoric to get elected. He doesn't really mean it. He has Israel first, or Zionism first, I should say, and screw the US. Because and he's controlled by the bigs. The bigs run everything. And you remember when I drove across country in 2013, and I probably told you, when I was driving across the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, I would, like, the McDonald's was open, the Hampton Inn was open, but Louise's Kitchen was boarded up, and the Dano Hotel was for sale or closed, and it was
Joey's
very,
Pizza.
what?
Joey's Pizza was closed too.
Joey's Pizza was gonzo. Yeah, the Domino's was okay. And
Eddie's
so
Muffler Shop.
it was clear right then that the bigs had unlimited funds and the mom and pop were getting squeezed. And then COVID really put the coup de grace to that. COVID was the coup de grace.
Gerald Salenti says it all the time. The bigs get bigger. When he was growing up, and even he's a boomer. We're at Gen X's. Even when we were kids, you saw more drugstores. You saw more
Stationery
independent.
stores, yeah, hardware
You
stores.
saw more independent hardware stores, stuff like that. You don't see that. I mean, maybe once a little bit here and there in a blue moon, sprinkled in some little town in the middle of nowhere. But by and large,
Yeah, and it was run
rural
by local
America
people. Yeah.
is getting crushed, absolutely destroyed. It's never in the news. There's no jobs there. Farmers are going out of existence in the U.S. I would say, if I had to guess, and I'm no expert in that area by any means, within 10 years or so, there probably won't even be any independent farmers anymore. They're all going to be forced to sell out.
No, they're all conglomerate now. The As
100%.
far as independent farmers, I mean, it's like this much.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few. But to your point,
they're all
yeah,
owned by
they're going to be
conglomerates.
non-existent, in my opinion, in a decade. And you're just going to have big corporations like Tyson, whatever, Chicken, and Monsanto, and whatever. These
Like
massive
Bill Gates.
multinational.
Bill Gates probably considers himself a farmer because he bought all this farmland, but he doesn't
Yeah,
farm.
yeah, and he's still going to eat pure grass-fed beef, and we're going to be eating the shit that he tells us.
Soylent and Green.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what's he tell us to eat? The fake meat there, you know.
You remember
You know,
Soylent Green, right?
I do, and yeah, and he's going to be
People.
he and the elites are going to be eating, like I said, the grass-fed whatever, the pure whatever, filet mignon or whatever, and we're going to be eating,
Dan, when I opened up the laptop and I sat you down and I watched that, and I had you watch that
cricket
movie,
asses.
and I had you watch that movie. What did they have in that movie? What did they have at that movie? Remember, he had a friend who was an old guy in the movie.
Yeah, Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah, and what happened to him?
Yeah, Edward G. had to take the death pill.
No. They were promoting
Yeah.
these
Euthanasia
centers like they're
Yes.
doing now.
Yes. In
And
Canada, especially.
they brought him to this nice room, and
Yep.
they had surround screens like you have at Epcot Center.
Surround sound, and you're on a beautiful beach drinking a Mai Tai, feeling, very
Well, they give you
serene
whatever you want. This guy had a
and,
field of flowers. He was in a
and
field. And it was
peaceful.
showing,
And while you're looking at that and feeling serene and peaceful, they pop you in the arm or whatever, and then,
well, I think they gave you a drink, and then you sit down and
or a
you walk.
drink, yeah. And then you're like,
Yeah. And
lights out.
so they were basically encouraging people to basically kill themselves.
To whack themselves.
Right. And then what Charlton Heston found out in the movie was that they were taking all these people who were killing themselves, and they were turning it into what was feeding most people in the world.
Food. They were
Soylent Green. And then
recycling.
yeah, at the end of the movie, he went kind of kooky, and they're trying to get him, psychiatric help, and he's like, "It's people." Sorry for ruining the movie, but if you haven't seen it in the last 50 years, you're probably not going to see it.
Oh, yeah.
This movie was like 1972. It's funny how all these movies came out right after the gold standard went off. You had Planet of the Apes, Soylent Green, Omega Man.
Yeah. Yeah. All the stuff that back then was just total sci-fi in nature thoughts, but now is a lot closer to reality, and some of it is reality in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Yep, and nobody was awake back then. And because we had the Vietnam War, and then we go into the Afghanistan war like 20 years later, 30 years later.
We were in Vietnam from like 57 to like 75. We went in the first 3-5 years as advisors, backfilled the Frenchies. But the point is, we were there 17 or 18 years. 2 decades. You think we would have learned? And then Afghanistan/Iraq Part 2.
How could that have happened?
Because we don't learn. That's how. Because history is a joke. Dave and I are history buffs. We love history. But aside from loving history, you're supposed to learn from it. It's called, you try to teach your kids this. Try not to make the same mistake 17 times.
That's why
we as a nation, we do that. We're great at it. We make the same mistake over. Look, I don't want to be critical. I don't want to be negative, but there's just so much farce going on, especially with the military, the special ops community. These guys, everybody's got a 12-inch, and 22-inch arms, all tattooed up, super tough, bench presses 500 pounds, can kill you with his pinky. But we haven't won a war since World War II. But the guys that won World War II were just regular Joes like Audie Murphy, 5'4", 135 pounds. They beat probably the best army in the world. The Germans clearly were a superior force and superior equipment, without a doubt. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, the Russians, who we despise and constantly kick in the balls, newsflash, folks, little slight history lesson for those that have no clue. We probably wouldn't have won World War II without the Russians coming from the East. And, oh, by the way, we lost how many men in combat, roughly, in World War II? I don't know, 200,000, something like that.
400, I think 400,000.
All right, let's say 400. That's a lot. Russians lost like 20 million. Trump made the comment the other day, which actually pissed off a lot of veterans, how he lambasted Europe at, I think, the the Davio conference, or the Switzerland thing. And as usual,
I heard he got a standing ovation.
Yeah, but he tries to speak intelligently on history, and he knows nothing about it. He's like, well, if it weren't for World War II and us, doing everything, we wouldn't have won it. It's like, no. Sorry, we had a bunch of allies. We had a ton of allies helping us too, guys. There were like 6 or 8 nations that stormed the 6 beaches with us on Omaha, namely the Americans, the Brits, the Canadians, and then, of course, the Russians from the east. If it weren't for the Russians pounding on the Germans from the east, I don't know if we would have won. Or it might have taken twice as long, not 4 years. So, I'm just
Well,
saying we don't learn from history,
Dan,
and then
there was,
whatever
if it wasn't for the
history,
Russians, we would not have beat the Germans if it wasn't for the Russians.
probably
Guaranteed.
not. Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of experts probably would agree with that statement. But that statement we just said is not politically correct, and it's not a popular statement.
The reason we won the wars against Germany and Japan and Italy and whoever else, part of France turned to there, but it became a war of attrition, right? And
Yeah, we outproduced them. Yeah, no doubt.
that there was a famous scene in The Longest Day where the Germans captured an American, and he had a Boston cream pie that had been flown in the day before, and the Germans were like, the German officer was like, "We've lost the war because of this," and they're like, "It's a pie. Relax." He's like, if you were worried about losing the war and worried about your resources, would you be wasting resources to bring a pie from Boston to Paris?
Flying in on planes, spending all the tonnage and fuel costs, on and on and on.
So going forward, knowing what we know about resources now, I mean, it's very clear. If you look at the wars going on right now, pre-official war, like before World War II started and before World War III is going to start, everything is about routes and resources.
Yeah.
That's what Venezuela is about. They have oil. They have oil, and we don't want them putting their freaking missiles in Venezuela, which is like basically a punt to Miami.
We beat the Germans because we outproduced them. Bottom line, they were sinking everything we sent across the Atlantic, left, right, and center.
They were still sinking everything.
We were sending so many friggin' ships and so much effing tonnage, they couldn't shoot enough of the shit down.
That's right.
And even our tanks and stuff, the Sherman tank against the Tigers and the Panthers were a complete joke. They were tin cans, complete junk. But when you have 10-1 ratio or 5-1 or 7-1, going into a tank battle, then you could get by. But these are the little arcane points about history, and
but it's
I'm
going
not
forward.
trying to.
That's why you can see why what's going on in the world is going on.
Yeah, I'm not trying to denigrate us. I love the U.S.
Remember when we were little kids? I don't know about where you grew up, but I was always playing pickup football, pickup baseball, pickup whatever.
100%.
Okay,
100%.
and you'd go to the field. You'd go to the field, and the guy would be like, you'd get two guys would be in charge, and they'd be like, "Okay, Dan, you're on my team. Dave, you're on my team. Mike,
100%.
you're on my team. Jerry, you're on my team." And that's what's going on right now, guys, in the world. China and Russia are clearly on one side, and the U.S., Israel, and England are on the other side. And
you forgot to mention how we had helicopter parents and high supervision while we were playing our games.
Well, no, that this has nothing to do with the discussion that we're having. I'm using the analogy of that. What's going on is we are in World War III right now, folks. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So the U.S. economy, I mean, last year, if it wasn't for the U.S. government, we would have been in a depression if it wasn't for U.S. government spending. U.S. government spending, if you look at the charts, it's at like wartime level spending.
Oh, yeah. It accounts for something like 30 to 40% of our GDP. Yeah. Yeah. And everybody thinks that's normal. The hand of intervention.
Yep. So, I think we're going to continue. I think we'll be in kinetic warfare by 2027.
I can't say you're wrong. I hope you're dead wrong, my friend. For all of our sake. But at the rate we're going, things continue to deteriorate faster and faster. And the Trumpster, whether knowingly or unknowingly or consciously or unconsciously by design or not, seems to be pushing that pedal down harder and faster, pedal to the metal on all that. Yeah.
Maybe it will be another proxy war, like Ukraine, like
Yeah.
like Vietnam was a proxy war.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole world's watching us. They're watching what we say, what we do. And when we start doing stuff that doesn't seem to make sense and we're all over the place, and if you look at history, guys, and you look at empires, what do all the empires have in common, sort of? Maybe I'm wrong. It's like a wounded animal towards the end. What does a wounded animal do towards the end when its back is against the wall? They're wounded. They're lashing out at that point at everything and anything around them. And I kind of feel like we're doing that. And maybe I'm wrong, but if you look at history and all the empires, didn't they sort of lash out and expand way too far, overextend themselves? Roman Empire is a great example. And at the same time, they decoupled their money and they watered it down. The coins weren't even all gold and silver anymore. They were putting up more metals, other crap in
They
them.
would clip the coins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. And then they collapsed. Oof.
Well,
Their own weight.
I've sent this video many, many times to you and my friends and my family about the compounding video, about how the compounding.
Yes. In Yankee Stadium, yeah.
It looks like nothing's happening, and then in the last 5 minutes, it happened so fast that if you had not pre-prepared, there was no time to prepare. So there are people who are like, well, I'll wait until I see a sign. By the time you see a sign, there is no time. And I think what we're seeing now, Dan, is we're seeing that hockey puck, the hockey stick, I should say, starting to go up. And it started with the Ukraine-Russia war. And right after that, with Biden putting the sanctions on Russia. And you could clearly see the United States was clearly impacted by that economically over the next year. And now we're seeing silver and gold rocket higher. And at some point that is going to impact the economy of the United States in a negative manner. Because it's an indication that something is seriously, seriously wrong. And it's gonna be a Monday. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be a Monday. Something's gonna happen over the weekend. Monday morning is gonna come, and we're gonna be in a new world. Whether economically, militarily, something really bad is gonna come. And nobody who wasn't prepared, and I mean, even the people who thought they were prepared aren't even going to be prepared for what's coming. And my point is what seemed like it was going to take decades, like when just 10 years ago when we started talking about this. Yeah, I mean, I thought it could be imminent, but we weren't seeing like the decay. But now we can see it's like the decay, like pieces are falling off now. Yeah, as you know, I've been saying USS Titanic. I mean, I think we're at the point now where the damn thing is, it's vertical. It's vertical. It's next stop. Blub, 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 blub. I don't know what anybody would look at as anything positive that could, I mean, reverse. How can you reverse this at this point, Dan? I mean, it's an 800-pound guy.
Yeah, I don't think you can. It's like you always say, the 800-pound fat guy. he was 400 pounds looking in the mirror. Hey, yeah, I don't look that bad. Oh, I'm 525. Hey, I can still wolf down a couple of cream pies and 682. Now he's 825. It's just too late. He's got liver damage, spleen damage, whatever damage,
Bedbound.
organ damage, the weight, lungs are filled up with fluid.
Need a crane
It's not
to get him
funny.
out.
The ankles are this big. Stick a needle in them to drain them. Maybe they'll buy him a little more time. But yeah, it's called Gonzo, probably Gonzo, and it's just like we never learned. We've only been around 250 years, and we've only been on top of that 75 years in the world, 80 years from Bretton Woods. So I mean, we're to me we're arrogant and stupid at the same time. Because we didn't learn anything from history. And the Chinese, like I said, say what you want about them, say what you want about the Russians. I mean, say what you want about India. These countries have been around for thousands of years. You don't think they've seen empires come and go? The
No,
Scythians, the
but
Assyrians,
no, but
the
the people who
Egyptians,
run the
the
world,
Phoenicians, on and on and on.
the people who run the world aren't. It's like the Bushes. The Bushes might have been born in the United States, but that's not their allegiance. Their allegiance is to whoever runs the world, and that crosses borders. Think if you like, we tend to be stuck in our own time frame, but you just go back 100 years and the world map looked a lot different.
Well, so here's what I'll say about the wealthy and elite. To your point,
No,
they're not
let me just finish
thinking
my
days.
point. But you agree the world map looked a lot different just 100 years ago.
1,000%, because the elite are thinking years,
No,
decades,
my
and
point is,
generations.
yeah, they formed these groups 500 or 1,000 years ago, and as
100%.
the world map has changed, their allegiance has stayed the same to each other.
Exactly.
Whether they live in Poland or Germany, England or Ireland, New
Right.
York or London or
Yeah.
Paris or
Well,
Beijing.
that's where I was going with that. That's the one mathematical, if you will, constant. Their allegiance, because they know, because they think generations in advance. They know that things change in the world constantly, including regimes, governments, borders, maps. But that's the one constant that they do control and can control. And hence, that's why they're at where they're at.
Yeah, and it's why
And
Rothschild.
by the way,
said, right?
most of these cats, sorry to interrupt, the Rothschilds you were going to say, and whomever that we know of, I guarantee the people the ultimate elites that are running the show, they're removed 10 levels, 15 levels, 50 levels. We have no clue who they even are, and we never will know. They're probably walking down the street every day.
Yeah, well,
you'll never know who they are. Put yourself in their shoes. Would you want anybody knowing who you were if you were
but
controlling the shots like that, pulling the strings? No, you wouldn't.
But
it would be a liability.
They have developed a playbook over time that has been perfected, and now technology has made it that much easier for them
Sped
to
it up.
control everything.
Sped it up.
And wait until now you can. That's why our government is constantly talking about putting these currency controls, these credit scores.
Social credits, CBDCs, UBI. Yeah,
because it's a part of the playbook, man.
It's all to take care of you and protect you.
Yep.
And you don't give up anything in advance.
No. Soylent Green, and then the movie that you liked with Matt Damon there that was filmed in Mexico where the people lived in the cloud, Elysium. Yeah, if people haven't seen that movie, if people have not seen Soylent Green and have not seen Elysium, hey, let me know and I'll send you a link to both movies. You can watch them for free. And
I say it all the time.
You should watch them.
We're absolutely going towards that model in some way, shape, or form, Elysium. I don't know when we're going that way. Eventually, the The
Well,
earth
we're there
is
already. It's just they use walls right now and compounds.
100%. Eventually, the earth is going to be populated in such a way, and we will have drawn on the resources in such a way that um, the elite are going to be like, the whole earth, not just one country anymore, or a few countries over here are a friggin' dump. The entire earth is basically an effing garbage dump. And I'm getting the fuck out of here, pardon my French. And I'm living in my own constructed biosphere, which is paradise with palm trees. And the shitheads that are left on the earth are just going to be the working slobs that are going to supply us accordingly with whatever we need, including toilet paper. 100%, I can see that. 100%. I mean, when you got guys like Bill Gates already telling us to eat bug burgers, I mean, come on. I'm looking out for you. I'm a health expert. Well, the last time I knew Bill, you were a 19-year-old programmer starting Microsoft. Now, all of a sudden, you're a health expert, but hey.
Yeah, he looks like the picture of health.
Oh, he does. A moniker of health. I think he can do 7 push-ups if you put a squirt gun to his head.
Yeah. Well, he used to be thin. He's not even thin anymore.
It's all these guys, George Soros. Hi, I'm George.
Did he die, or is he still alive?
He's still alive. I mean, you figure with all his money, he'd get a facelift or two, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah, he looks like the emperor.
Yeah. Pull it back just a little bit, George. Knock off a decade.
Well,
Short
dude.
the British pound again.
So let's just go back to what we originally were going to talk about.
Yeah, so bottom line is this is why the precious metals guys are doing what they're doing, but this presents opportunity as well.
Well, if you go into this is the thing, when we're not going to have enough time to go down this path, I'm thinking, but long story short, if I've been saying this for years, if you're not in the markets, you've got to learn how to do this because
agreed. Opportunity cost for one.
The stock market, if you look at Weimar, Germany, if you look at Venezuela, Nigeria, Kenya, whoever, when those countries were falling apart, their stock markets were booming. And the people who were involved in the stock markets and knew how to trade the markets were able to protect their standard of living to some degree. The people who just had a job and got unemployed, or even the people who kept their jobs and saw inflation to eat into their money, that they suffered.
Spot on. Yeah, they withered away, a lot of them. Yeah, all kidding aside. Absolutely. Know what to do.
So, Dan and I, I developed a very specific trading plan, which Dan is the only person I've shared it with. And in addition to that, we still have to do more. And it's not easy. Like, we're looking at these charts, and the charts are like this. And I can tell you that I don't like to chase things, but as I alluded to before, silver and gold have been doing this for the last 6 months. And I've been waiting for some sort of pullback to basically jump in on certain tickers that I either sold or I missed out on. And now I'm wondering, like Dan alluded to before, maybe it isn't going to pull back. Maybe it can't pull back.
I mean, I just want to be clear. I think there will be, as there always is, some pullbacks here and there, traditional pullbacks.
But I'm talking like something major. Like if we see it go up $20 today, Dan, and then next week it drops 10, yay, right? That's not really much of a pullback. And that's why I think you're going to see people going in FOMO, because their attitude is there's no major pullbacks. There's no down for these people. You're going to see it. That's why what we're seeing now, to them, there is no risk into buying right now. Even if it pulls back $10, you got to wait a month and then it will rocket higher 20 is what they'll think, right?
So for those that don't even have as much of an extensive background in silver, that are seeing it now at $107 or whatever, I got news for you guys. It's still relatively cheap. For a bunch of reasons.
Well,
Namely
it
that
has been suppressed for decades.
for 50 years, going back to the Hunt brothers, 1980 or whatever,
Well, like, I mean, hey, if Bitcoin can go to $100,000, you're saying gold can't go to 10 or 20?
Absolutely. And you're saying that silver can't go to $300, $400 an ounce?
Well, I looked at this about a month ago, and my memory, I write it down, but I don't have it in front of me. I think silver, when these things when these runs go on, silver usually drops to a silver gold ratio of 30-1. And I think when it gets really extreme, it goes to like 15. And there are other charts that have shown gold versus the SPY that has gone to 1-1. 1-1 before. It was 1-1 not too many years ago. So that means the SPY is right now like 6,700.
Yeah. It's almost 1-1, not far away. Yeah. That's a good point. It's encroaching it. It's a good point.
Well,
interesting point.
The reality is that the miners are a dangerous business, because miners, like we saw with SSRM mining,
Volatile.
they had that mine in Turkey where they had that disaster that killed those people, and the mine collapsed, or the leaching pad collapsed, and their stock dropped to like $4. And so if you're investing in the miners, that's one advantage of buying a GDX or GDXJ, or because you'll still get a hit, but you won't get 100% hit. You'll get like a 10% hit or a 5% hit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time to buy. Like I bought SSRM because they actually have some great assets, but they were, in these countries where safety really wasn't that important, and it caught up to them. And the danger with a lot of these miners is that they're in like Mexico or Africa or these countries where the mine could go down tomorrow.
Yeah, it's true. Not to mention, the government can do whatever they want in a lot of these countries,
Yeah, I mean, the revolution and like some of those mines in one of those African countries where they had the army take over, and then the army took over the mines.
Exactly.
And then oh my God. Let me call it. I have the symbol in. This is funny. I think of companies as symbols now instead of names. Franco-Nevada. Franco-Nevada is like, they're another like royalty company. And they had these great royalties down in, I forget which country it was, somewhere in Latin or South America, I think. And the government said, you can't develop it. And it was like a huge percentage of their money. And their stock dropped. I tried buying it and I could not get filled. I was trying to buy it on options. And then when it left my range, I forgot about it. But Franco-Nevada, I haven't looked at that chart in about a month, because that one typically moves slower. Oh my God, it's up to 265 tonight. When I was looking at it, it was around $100.
Wow.
Yeah, it was around $100. Yeah, they got down. Yeah, the end of last year, it got down to 120 or 115, and I was trying to buy it around 110, I think. So that's done. I mean, that's done over a double, right?
So, because we're pushing 2 hours, so we got to
yeah.
wrap. But what's the moral of the story here? There's still, I think,
Well, I think the moral of the story is I think when you for me, when I see this stuff happening, I'm now looking at where is the money not rotating, and where is going to present some opportunities to sell some puts. Now, here's the thing I want to say. I prefer to sell options because when you buy options, basically, if you're wrong with the timing or the price, you lose your money. If I sell an option and I'm wrong, like not completely wrong, I'm a little wrong, I still make money. If I'm really wrong, then I take possession of shares or I lose shares, right? Because it's, and so options the premium works on time and decay. So when you sell an option, the time is your friend, you're the bank. And every second that ticks by, that option ticks a little bit lower and lower and lower if it stays flat. And so, plus, let's say like Apple, right? Let's just use Apple. I haven't looked at Apple. Apple's taken a plunge lately, but let's say you think Apple might bounce and you want to sell like a $220 put, right? Well, it's a lot better to get premium on that Apple, expecting it to bounce and not drop as much. But I forget what I was going to say on this, Dan, on that example with Apple. But basically, there are other opportunities out there.
yeah.
Where I would sell a put on miners or metals is if we wake up one day and it's down like 10%. Then I think the premiums will be rocking and rolling. You'll be getting some pretty good money for those premiums.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is you only sell puts on stocks you want to own if you really look at it, because you might have to hold it. And that's why I brought up the UNG trade, right? I was pounding the table with you on that one, Dan, and you wouldn't even move on it. So I don't know why. I told you, I mean, you know, who knows when somebody says, oh, I'm 100% confident. Who can put a percentage? But I told you I was like 95% confident because there's always that slim chance that it could slam against you for no reason. And I think I'm going to be right on that trade. It's not over yet. Some, you know, I've staggered the trades, but you know, and this is the other thing is, you know, when I first started trading, I'd go like all in on something, you know, and that sometimes worked out well, but sometimes it punched me in the face. So
Absolutely.
But the reality, Dan, is your thesis of selling a put on GoRo or SVM. I don't think you have a lot of risk on that because it's $1.50 or $5 if you stagger them, right? And even if there's a pushback, I mean, I would say wait for a pullback at this point on anything. Yeah. But maybe a pullback never comes, or maybe, you know, like if you wanted to sell right now a $10 put on SVM, right, or a $1.50 put on GoRo, and then they go up $5, and you're like, wow, I missed my opportunity. And then next week or next month they fall back to their price today. Well, you would have been better selling the put today, because you only got back to where you are.
Yeah.
But I think right now, I mean, this certainly feels real to me. Looks real. And
I agree.
And the only thing I would say is this week is going to be a huge week for the stock market and for the financial markets. So it might be prudent to observe this week, put together your list, and then see what happens going into next Monday. Because right off the bat, we're seeing some extreme rocket ship tonight, Sunday night. Today's January 25th. And so the markets tomorrow it's going to be chaotic tomorrow. You know that. The open, it's going to be like piranha when the market opens, even pre-market. It's going to be, I don't like trading in those markets. I tend to stand aside. It's too chaotic.
Settle down a little bit first.
Yeah, it's too chaotic for me. Yeah.
No argument there.
Yeah. So
all right, dude. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're really itching to do it, I mean, if you put on one contract on each of those, I mean, very low risk.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Very
That's
low
what
risk.
I did.
I mean,
That's what I did.
$1,000 on one and $150 on another.
That's what I did. To augment our other stuff that we were talking about. Yeah.
Well, how much premium are you looking to collect, and what options were you looking at?
SVM and Goro.
Yeah, but what strikes, what expirations, what premiums?
Goro was actually March. And
you went out March?
Yeah, I went to March at $2.50 because I think it's going to go there.
Oh, so you bought? Well, you bought a call?
No, I sold. Well, I'm trying to sell a put.
Oh my God. So how much did you collect?
Well, I haven't collected anything yet. It's in the system.
Oh, well, what are you asking for?
Well, I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback, so right now I'm asking for $2.
No. You said you entered it into the system. What did you enter the order for?
Strike at $2.50, selling a put for Goro, March 20th.
No.
And I'm asking $2.
It's a no-brainer. If they get your risk is nothing if they give you $2. What was the midpoint? The midpoint was $2.
The midpoint was like the low end was 85 cents. The midpoint was $1.25.
Dude, even $1.25? $1.25 on a 250? That's lower than the current price. I mean, so that's probably not a bad trade. I mean, you might be exercised. That's the problem is in reality, if it goes to $2, then you might have to, you won't get that full $1.25.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Well, you might be better off going for like $1.50, and then you keep all the premium, or $2. Okay. $2 might be a better number.
Well, that's what I'm asking. $2. Yeah.
No, the strike.
Oh, for the strike. Yeah.
But
yeah, I was considering that.
But you're going out to March, so that's 2 months.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, at this rate, Dan, you and I will see each other, like talk to each other, and like Wednesday, and it will be $3.
The way it's rocking and rolling, or it might be $1. or
I'm telling you
85
right now,
cents.
First Majestic is going to hit $30 tomorrow.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude, I can't say you're wrong.
I, I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if it was recorded when we were doing it. First Majestic, it's going to have another $10 day at this point, at some point. There's so much money. You know how it is. It's the quote unquote dumb money is now coming into these stocks.
Yes.
That's when you see First Majestic running, it's the idiot money. It's
Well,
like the retail
yeah,
money. And
I
I'm not.
can't. Yeah, you're right. If it's moving like that, somebody's just piling in hand over fist.
So it could definitely go to 30, 35,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and then I wouldn't be surprised if it dropped $10 again. First Majestic is and then because the First Majestic, the thing that it has in its favor is they have that stupid Jarrett Canyon that they need a $4,000 gold price, $4,500. I think I calculated. Remember, I calculated that. I calculated it to be $4,400. I think gold price to restart that mine, and now we're at 5,100.
There
So
you go.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are getting ready to start that up. But the other thing that Keith did, Keith bought another mine recently, and I think they're always looking to buy a mine. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use their cash to buy another mine instead of opening Jarrett Canyon, because they have some risk in Mexico, a lot of risk if anything goes wrong. So
Right. The government stuff in general. Yeah,
or if a mine collapses,
that too.
or if the town, whether it's you want to call them narcos or the unions down there, like Equinox Gold last year and the year before, they had several of their mines shut down for like months because the communities that they were in wanted more money and more this, and they said, well, we're just going to shut the mine down. Well, you still have the asset, but you have nothing coming out of the ground. And that's why mining is such a terrible business. This is the time you want to own miners. You wanted to be buying them in 2025, early 2025, and ride it up. And now this is when you really, in my opinion, want to start collecting on that.
Oh, yeah. 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 So anyway, we've given good food for thought. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, we should definitely talk more. I mean, today, what threw our discussion off is silver and gold really just threw us for a loop as far as getting into the weeds on some of these trades. But you and I should have a further conversation on some of these charts on selling premium, because the guy I subscribed to, the Maverick, I forwarded you some of his trade ideas, and I think he's got some pretty good trade ideas for selling puts that I sent you on Friday.
Oh, okay. I'd be interested in.
Yeah, if you look in the messages I sent you,
All right.
I'm pretty sure I sent them. But yeah, I'll dig back through it. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a doozy, dude. It would be. Wouldn't it be very interesting if it was a repeat of February 1st, 2021?
Well, at least we won't get whacked like we did then.
You won't. I might.
Okay. Yeah, I won't.
No, but I have the other thing that I will say is there are some royalty companies that haven't really moved yet, and Equinox Gold really hasn't moved yet either. You might want to look at. I've been telling you to buy Equinox Gold for like 2 years. I was telling you to buy it when it went down to $4.
That's EQK.
No, EQX.
My bad. Yeah.
Look into seeing what you can get for selling. Their premiums usually are garbage. So I think there's a chance that they could start to appreciate, but there's risk with them. They're like the First Majestic of gold. They always stub their toe. Just like First Majestic, they always do something wrong at the wrong time. So that's the danger with them. FSM is another one that I'm surprised it hasn't rocketed higher yet, because they have exposure to gold and silver.
I was looking at them the other day. It's funny you say that.
Because they're only up to like $12, I think, right now.
Yes, something like that. Not quite as much as they haven't
they were
rocketed
lagging.
quite like
They were
the other.
lagging. Only in the last week have they moved. Last week.
1165.
Yeah, they were at $10. They were at $10. They're at $12.09 right now, overnight.
Mm-hmm.
$12.09. I don't know. If you can get a $10 put for them, that would be a pretty good number, I think. $10 put. They've been a terrible stock to own for a lot, compared to owning other miners. They're always, there are some people who really have pumped them over the years, and they got really so February. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. A $10. Yeah, 20 cents for a $10 put.
20 cents.
Not worth the risk.
Yeah.
I would probably be more likely to go with a $20 on First Majestic right now. Or if
you're going to consider FSM, it's probably a ways out. March 20th at $10 is paying 40 cents.
Yeah, but run. This is what I'm talking about. So so let's say 40 cents on $10, right?
Yeah.
That's 4%. I mean, that's a 24% annualized return. Not bad. But that's something I wanted to get into you with. Is I like to get at least 5% when I sell an option, if I can, and I want 5% in a month if I can get it.
Oh yeah.
So
do not disagree.
But these are so like First Majestic. So I mean, even if you sold this is the risk though. I mean, $25 stock, you're now talking $2,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's quoting $2 for $25 put for First Majestic. Wow, I really blew that. I sold a bunch of $27 covered calls last week. Because Dan, we talked about this. How can you not? I mean, my cost basis is like $4. I mean,
I agree.
I mean, you got to take something off the table.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you say it all the time. I mean, I've made the mistake a lot in the past, taking nothing.
Well, I still have in my account. They don't go away. I have a couple miners and a couple stocks where I'll never forget. There was this one. It doubled, and I tried selling it, and whatever reason, something glitched on the account, and I couldn't sell it. And then the next day, it dropped like 10 cents. And I was like, oh, I put in an order to sell it at the price it was the day I was trying to sell it. And that just happened to be the top. And then what did this miner do? Unfortunately, this miner ended up going out of business or merging or doing something. So basically, it's still in my account showing a $4,000 loss when I was up $4,000. And I didn't take a dime off the table. This is what changed. This is what I had to learn over time, right? Is I was so confident that these stocks were going to keep going higher. I didn't sell the covered call and I didn't take anything off the table. And Now, if I had been right, then I would have been rewarded. But what I've learned is I mentioned this to you before. If I'm going to leave money on the table, if I sell First Majestic for $27 and it goes to 35, yeah, it's going to suck. But I've got $27 in my hand, right? Whereas if I had done nothing and that thing went up to 35 and round trip down to 15 and I took nothing off the table, I don't want to leave money on the table that way ever again. If it means I leave money on the table, and I have this past year, I've left. I don't go through and calculate it because I'm not into that type of sadistic equations, but but I'll guarantee you, if I had to guess, you're on mute. You're muted.
Sometimes it's good not to know.
Yeah, you're right, because it's well over $100,000. Yeah, yeah, maybe more. That's just a rough paper napkin estimate, and because I keep adding to it, because I had a conversation there like, well, why are you selling covered calls? I'm selling covered calls because at some point, yeah, you can get burned, but there's a chance that, the moves that we're seeing, like right this past week, this has not been the norm. So this is when you get caught. Now, the thing with rolling options, I can roll these, and at some point, it's possible First Majestic might go up to 35, and then if I keep rolling at $27, it's possible First Majestic could come back to $25. And then all that money that I'm collecting on premium is in my pocket, and I still own the shares. So, but I'll have something in my pocket, right? I have to, at this point in my life, I just have to take money off the table. Sorry.
Well, yeah. That's the pros do that. Take a fourth off or a third off, whatever.
Yeah, and I think the pros, because I hear Mav, and I know it bothers him sometimes, but I think that they're pros because they understand that you're never going to hit the highs and you're never going to hit the lows. And so as long as they're capturing a chunk of meat, they've done their job. So if I'm capturing a chunk of meat, and the other thing that you and I talk about, Dan, is there's a lot to be said for cash flow as well, and cash. And I still think that it's not a bad idea to hold cash, even with inflation increasing. I think even holdings a good size of your account in cash is not necessarily a bad idea if you also sell the options, because as I showed you with the percentages, if you're making 3.5% on short-term government paybacks or the money market funds that Fidelity or Schwab is paying, right? And then you're able to make 5%, 10%, 20% on these options you're selling. You're using cash that's collecting 3.5% to basically make those trades. So you're adding to your ROI. So when you bring in that $1.25, which is $125 on one contract, if that works out the way you did, you just made a 50% ROI. Where are you going to get that? And you do a worst case scenario. Let's say GoRo stays at $1.50. You're still up. You're still profitable if it's at $1.50 with that option. If you get $2 for it, or $1.50.
Yeah, I agree.
So in this environment, I think if you can do a stock like a GoRo, sell a $2 and get $1, even if you got 75 cents for the $2, you're going to be golden. In fact, I'm going to look at that right now because, Dan, you convinced me. Because I have GoRo and I have all my shares accounted for as covered call. I'm going to lose them if this thing rockets. But a $2, dude, a $2 for February 20th, it's paying 57 cents. Well, I'm going to put it, I always put it in for more. What's going to happen, dude, is when this open happens, there's going to be so much like the piranha. There's going to be a feeding frenzy, and the market maker is not going to have any regulation. When I want some crazy price, I put it in before the open, and many times it will get filled, and 5 minutes later into the market, they'll have a nice tight premium where it's a few, like a dime or a nickel. But I'll put it in for like, say $1.50, right? And then you can't get more than $1.20 when things settle out. So, I mean, you can't go like triple, double, but you can go outside the parameters a little bit. And if it doesn't get filled, who gives a shit? It didn't cost you anything to put the order in. Yeah, you're on mute again. So, all right, Dan, I'll give you the last word. I think
No, you said it.
Covered a bunch of.
You said it beautifully in the end.
ahead.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. I mean, my last word would be basically to recap everything you recapped. I think you covered it greatly. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's important to have fear, and I think the other thing is for folks who aren't comfortable with this, like with Dan, you haven't done it in a while. Do the baby steps, man. I mean, the amount of risk on those two trades that you talked about.
They're conservative trades, to Dave's point.
Dan, the Wi-Fi is dropping here, so
Okay.
it was good.
We'll
Yeah.
catch up again we'll catch up this week, all right?
Live long and prosper.